Good morning. Welcome to the PTNI's Daily Show. Happy Thursday morning. Hope your morning is off to a great start. I apologize for our tardiness today. Normally, if you've been following us for a while, you know that we go live at 9 Eastern. Jeff Moore was scheduled today and apparently found something better to do down at South College. So I'm jumping in to grab his spot. My name is Alan. I'm happy to be your host today. I currently have the pleasure of serving as our Chief Operating Officer and a lead faculty in our Fitness Athlete Division. Here on the podcast, it is Leadership Thursday, which means we talk all things clinic ownership, management, leadership, small business development, that sort of thing. And it is Thursday, which means Gut Check Thursday is back. We took a break for the open. This week's Gut Check Thursday workout for time, 150 or 120 calories on a fan bike. 150 calories for the guys, 120 calories for the ladies. Every 3 minutes, but not zero, not the start of the workout, you're going to stop and you're going to perform 16 hang alternating dumbbell snatches. Guys are going to snatch a 50, gals are going to snatch a 35, and then you're going to move to a box and do 12 alternating box step-ups, 24 inches for guys, 20 inches for the ladies. This should be about a 12 to 15-minute workout. This is a workout I wrote for my wife actually when she was pregnant, that she was happy to do the other day postpartum, and that I modified a little bit for myself the other day in the garage. So very approachable workout, very low equipment needed. You need a bike, a dumbbell, and a box, something you can do in the clinic with patients, something you can give to a family member, something that you yourself could get done in the garage or the basement to get a little 15-minute workout in. Obviously very bike heavy, so it's going to reward those who enjoy the bike a little bit more than others, who can really push the pace on the bike, but overall a pretty nice workout. Courses coming your way. We have a whole lot. This coming weekend, coming up March 11th and 12th, Zach Morgan is going to be down in Knoxville, Tennessee for lumbar spine management. Christina is going to be down in Florida, Aventura, Florida, right outside of Miami for Older Adult Live. Julie Brower is not going to be in Florida. She's going to be in Minnesota and Lake Elmo, Minnesota, also for Older Adult Live. And then Paul will be in Frederick, Maryland for dry needling lower body. Next weekend, March 18th and 19th, Jordan will be in Charlotte for cervical spine management. Alexis Morgan will be up in Rochester, New York for pregnancy and postpartum live. Zach Morgan will be again on the road with lumbar spine management, this time at home base at Onward, Tennessee in Nashville. 2 chances to catch Older Adult Live that weekend, either in Cincinnati with Dustin or Fayetteville, North Carolina with Christina. And then you can catch Fitness Athlete Live that same weekend right outside of Springfield, Missouri with Zach Long. Final weekend of the month here in March, the 25th and 26th, you can catch Fitness Athlete out in North Platte, Nebraska with Mitch Babcock, or again, 2 chances for Older Adult Live, either in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, or Paoli, Pennsylvania. Online courses, a bunch starting at the beginning of the month. However, there's still a chance to catch Rehab of the Injured Runner live online starting Tuesday the 14th, or at the end of the month, primary care physical therapy or persistent pain management, both are starting Monday, the 27th of March. So a couple more chances to get into our online courses this month. This week, I want to continue what we started 2 weeks ago with our new leader series, targeted at those of you who may be thinking about beginning your own practice. Maybe you work somewhere else currently. Maybe you just have a little side hustle, but you're either thinking of going out on your own or you're thinking about turning your side hustle into your full-time hustle there. So what does that look like? Some really key steps to have. There we go. Something happened. Okay, we're back. So new leader series targeted at those of you who want to think about starting your own practice, or maybe those who already have a side hustle that are looking to grow it. So we started a couple weeks ago talking about the very basics. This week, we're going to build upon that episode and talk about why do you want to work where you're currently at? Why do you want to work somewhere else? Or why are you considering even opening your own practice? And really starting with these foundational concepts, kind of philosophical, I get it, of not exactly practical. I promise that as these weeks go along, we'll become rapidly more practical. But starting really philosophical here of why do you want to stay where you're currently at, or why do you want to move on? And the last 2 weeks, we talked about fixing pain is the easy part, and really starting to focus and conceptualize yourself as a person that's in sales will have you have a lot of success, not only in practice, working for somebody else, but definitely if you're thinking about starting your own practice, it's going to be key that you understand that concept. This week, wanting to know reasons why you work at your current place of employment and why you think you can do it better, why you think the grass is greener on the other side, and just giving you some food for thought, playing devil's advocate both ways before we start to get into some of the more practical aspects of what does it actually look like to begin your own practice. Starting with where you're currently at, if you're watching this, you are maybe a student, but you're most likely already a practicing clinician. So why do you work where you currently work? Have you ever asked yourself that question? I don't think a lot of us do. A lot of us graduate, we find a job maybe that we had a rotation at, or otherwise, I think the honest truth is we find a job close to our house. And we never really think about, why am I working here? Especially on those days when it's tough, when nobody seems to be getting better, when you feel like you're not being treated appropriately by management, it's really important to ask, what and why am I actually doing here? Do you work where you currently work because you feel very supported with a lot of resources? Do you work there because you feel like you're allowed to practice with autonomy and that you can practice however you want to practice? That if you believe older adults should be swinging kettlebells, if you believe folks should be doing high intensity exercise in the clinic, if you believe that spinal manipulation has a benefit or dry needling has a benefit, are you allowed to practice those things where you're currently at? Or do you get a side eye? Do you get open opposition? Are you not allowed to do those things where you're currently at? And it's kind of slowly killing you inside. So are you allowed to practice with the autonomy that you want? And are you supported with resources to do so? Are you treated as a peer in the group that you're in? And are you given leadership opportunities, no matter how small they might be, and otherwise given room to grow as a leader or as a person? Is it a top-down leadership style where thoughts and opinions are not welcome? It is a you work here, you do what I say type of environment? Or do you feel like you're treated as an equal as a colleague? Do you think that you are paid well? Do you know how much you're paid compared to the national average, towards other physical therapists in your area, towards other physical therapists who have a similar level of experience or extra postgraduate education? Do you know those numbers? Or do you work somewhere where you're not allowed to talk about pay, where you could get in trouble, you could be fired, suspended, or fined for even talking about money with your colleagues? Do you work in a really kind of closed environment where that stuff is not welcome? So those are all kind of things to think about why do I actually work here? Or again, if we're being really honest with ourselves, are we working there because it's close to our house? Because it is more convenient to continue working there than it is to look at working somewhere else or opening our own practice? And the answer for some of us, for maybe a not small minority of us, is the answer, that it is more convenient right now to continue where you're at, even if you don't like how you're treated, even if you don't feel supported, even if you're not allowed to practice the way you want to, that it would be an inconvenience for you to look for another position or to consider opening your own practice. And it's important to know that about yourself, and to know that's why you go into the clinic every day, because I think big picture wise, that will obviously affect your ability to stay in the profession long term. When we talk about what causes burnouts, that feeling can certainly be one of them, but also that feeling gets passed on to our patients. We feel like work, going into the clinic, is really a slog. Trust me, other people can pick up on that as well. And it kind of starts to infect all aspects of the workplace with that feeling. And finally, with pay, are you paid well? There are a lot of you who reach out and say, what is fair pay? It's really going to depend on how you're paid. Are you a cash only clinic? Are you a hybrid clinic? Are you an insurance clinic where you don't really see a lot of cash people? How much are you reimbursed per hour? How much per patient is the clinic making? Do you have access to that information? Is that data shared with you? Is it closed and you're told you'll never have allowed access to it? Knowing those numbers gives you a better idea of where you're at comparison-wise. And some of you reach out with some real horror stories of, hey, do you think it's fair that I get paid hourly, but when somebody is late or cancels, I have to clock out? That is probably more common than we think, but that definitely doesn't mean that it is normal or that it is okay, right? I am of the firm belief, and you will never change my mind about this, that the person that goes to work every day and generates the majority of the revenue for that workplace should take the majority of the revenue generated back home to their own bank account. You will never change my mind about that. You can call me a communist, you can label me whatever you want, but I believe the person who goes in our profession, it's the physical therapist that goes in and treats the patient, should be the person that makes the majority of the money from that person coming to the clinic. And what we see as a profession, that pyramid is actually reversed, that the staff physical therapist is usually one of the lowest paid people in the clinic. The back end staff are usually paid higher, and then leadership and executives are paid even higher than that. So that can all contribute to feelings of maybe why I don't want to work here. Furthermore, not feeling like you're supported and being treated as a colleague can lead to a lot of these feelings. I'm thinking of a case in my mind, a little case study of an email we got not too long ago that said, hey, can you give me 10 peer-reviewed resources on why we need a barbell in the clinic? I'm being asked to give a presentation to the executive staff, and it must require 10 peer-reviewed resources or more to ask for the clinic to get a barbell. Team, how insulting is that to be expected to give a presentation like that when the ask there is so low? A barbell is $100 on Amazon, right? You could go after work in the ditch and find more pop cans than that to collect and return to get $100 for a barbell. That is a level of disrespect and a level of not being treated as an equal and a colleague that always makes me ask those folks who reach out with questions like that this question: why do you work there? There are 36,000 physical therapy clinics in the country. Go to a different one. And having those feelings and understanding those feelings and knowing what you're looking for in a position and having the experience of not being treated well in a position is okay, because it gives you the experience to know of, why do now I want to work somewhere else? If I don't want to work here, why do I want to work there? And the answer is probably going to be for the opposite reasons of all the stuff you list about why I do not want to work here is why I do want to work there. It's pays better. Maybe that's an okay reason to go to work every day. But maybe you have the feeling that you'll be supported better, that you'll be treated as a colleague and a peer. You won't have to argue and beg for money and beg for having more time with patients to practice in the way that we know is an effective way to treat patients. Maybe some of you choose positions, again, based on it being closer to your house. But maybe when you're thinking, why do I not want to work here? I want to work there. Maybe that's a reason that starts to go to the bottom of the priority list, and things like pay and being treated like an equal and being treated like a colleague are good reasons to look for a different position or to start to begin to open your own clinic. A lot of times folks reach out, especially in our fitness athlete courses, where we talk about starting a side hustle or a full position working alongside a gym or multiple gyms in an area. And when we ask people to dig deep, especially in our advanced concepts course where they develop a business plan of why are you doing this, a lot of people say, well, I like that I can wear gym clothes to work. Or, I think I can make more money doing it this way, taking cash, than I currently make. And those are okay reasons, but those are not reasons that will long-term grow a business. If you're thinking about starting your own position and you just want it to be a job where it just gives you money to pay your bills and you have no intention of growing it beyond yourself, those are okay reasons, I guess. But really stepping back and starting with why am I doing this? The deeper you can dig about why you're going to change positions or why you might consider opening your own practice, if you start to think about bigger concepts of, I'm really dedicated to delivering the highest quality care that I can to people in my community, of being one of the maybe only providers that patients see that addresses their whole body as a human, of dressing lifestyle, of talking to them about what they eat and how they sleep and how they manage their stress. And do you have any barriers in your life to obtaining healthy food or beginning an exercise program? Do you even have transportation access? Starting to dig into socioeconomic stuff. Those bigger picture ideas, starting with those as your why, will lead downstream to things like making more money and having more patients on your caseload. Far too often we see that when folks are asking the question of why do I want to work there or why do I want to open my own practice, they kind of put the cart before the horse. They put the results first. And you will always have more success. And when you are flexible with your method of how you do things, but you know where you want to go, with your result being, I want to deliver higher quality care. I want to be the leader that I wish I had when I was a new grad physical therapist starting out, of somebody who treats me with respect, of somebody who treats me as an equal, who welcomes my thoughts, not only on clinical practice, but on the running of the business, and also who lets me practice how I want to practice. I want to be that leader towards somewhere else. If you start with those principles first and you firmly believe them, promise me, when you begin to ask yourself the question of, why do I no longer want to work here, but start to look at working there, you will have a lot more success downstream, especially when you look at opening your own practice and beginning your own business that might grow into having multiple providers working alongside of you. And again, becoming that leader you wish you had when you yourself were working for another employer. So consider those concepts of, why are you currently working where you're at? Do you believe you're supported? Do you believe you are treated as a peer? Are you given a chance for leadership opportunities? Are you paid well? Do you know how well you're paid in comparison towards your peers and towards kind of the general area and kind of region of practice that you're in, so to speak? Or do you feel the opposite, that you are underpaid, that you are paid less than the owners, than the back end staff? Do you feel like you have to bend over backwards to try to get things like a barbell, or try to integrate things like spinal manipulation into your practice? And when you start to think about, why do I no longer want to work here? What are the reasons why you want to work there at a different position, or maybe opening your own clinic? Are you thinking about starting with why? A great book by Simon Sinek, if you haven't read it, of, are you committed to concepts, both leadership and practice wise, that your current position does not offer? Because if you are, I promise you, you will have a lot of success downstream, versus if your reasons are a little bit more shallow of, I want to make my own schedule, I want to wear stretchy pants to work, or I think I can make more money taking cash than working in this insurance-based clinic. You can talk to any of the folks, I promise you, who have an Onward or who have a cash-based physical therapy clinic across this country, and they will tell you it's not quite that easy. It involves a lot of difficult conversations about money and why you don't take insurance, and it's just not as simple as picking up the phone, putting someone in your schedule, and making a bunch of cash in hand. That there's a little bit more to it than that, and that if you start with that reason, that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be successful. So think about these concepts over the next couple of weeks. I'll be back in a couple of weeks and we'll continue this series. As promised, we'll get a little bit more practical about what the steps to beginning your own business might look like, if you're kind of on this train of thought currently, or even if you're just curious about what it might look like. So stick with us here on Thursdays. We'll continue to build this series. I plan to build this series through the next couple of months. So we hope to have you with us. If you're going to be at a live course this weekend, I hope you have a fantastic experience. Have fun with Gut Check Thursday. Again, we apologize for the tardiness. Blame Jeff. It's always Jeff's fault. Have a great Thursday. Have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.